Hello, and welcome to this COMP3218 game design and development video from the University of Southampton. My name is Tom Blount, and I am joined today by...
Hi, my name is Callum, and I'm one of the demonstrators on the course.
Brilliant. So today we're going to be looking at some more of our students' coursework. This coursework was all about storytelling in games, so we asked our students to make a small game prototype based on one of three fables that had a story engine in it, so a way in which the game world affects the story, and the story affects the game world. Let's take a look at our first video. Right, and our first game, not video, is Reckoning of Anthoria. So we've got a nice little title screen here, like quite thematic. No music or anything yet. Let's jump into it, press play, see what happens. Oh, there we go, there's the music. So immediately, words. In fact, I'm gonna drop the lovely music slightly, just because.
I can't hear the music, so okay. I'll have to rely on your
you're missing out. It's
assessment of that.
It is a banging harpsichord, which, as we all
love
know,
a harpsichord.
very medievally. Anyway, so once upon a time, in a distant land, a kingdom existed, a realm where the boundaries between the ordinary and the extraordinary blurred. This was the kingdom Anthoria, a land where humans and mystical beings coexisted in a balance under the watchful eyes of the majestic dragons. These dragons, revered as guardians and rulers, maintained harmony in the kingdom. One day, an evil sorcerer emerged from the shadows, bringing chaos to these lands using dark powers never seen before. To prevent the downfall of the Anthoria, hope flickered in the form of two unlikely heroes, but which of them will fate decree be worthy of completing this quest? Okay, so that's a reasonable amount of exposition. It's very much tell, don't show.
Yeah.
But, you know, they've set the scene. Let's jump into the game and see how they convey the rest of that story.
Yeah, this is... I feel like this is definitely something that...
There's a next button.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. Okay.
Okay. This is definitely something that they could have worked into even a couple of, like, separate conversations right at the start, rather than dumping everything here.
Yeah, so the initial sort of, like, exposition dump is not the most elegant way of doing it, but it is a common way of doing it. Giving the backstory of your two main characters, again, sort of as a text exposition dump, again, it's a bit of a clumsy way of doing it, and as you say, it would be nice if it was woven into the gameplay a little bit more.
Yeah.
Potential counterpoint is, if we're being asked to choose which of these two heroes we want to play as, we need to know something about them to make that choice.
Yeah, and as you say, it's very common, and like taking a recent example, Baldur's Gate 3, you get a text dump of each character's backstory before you choose which one to play, so you can't be too critical of it, I guess.
Okay, so we've got the fleet-footed scamp of the forest, and the Atlas from the harshlands of the Earthen Tortoises, so perhaps no prizes for guessing which fable they've based this on, which is good. We don't want to have to guess. So Zephyr is a rogue, a whisper of the wind, swift and enduring, perhaps a bit too hasty maybe, and Atlas, slow and steady, let's say. So he's the shield, he's got health, a mighty fortress, and his attacks, though few, land with earth-shattering force. So let's close that.
I do like the choice of names. They're nice, appropriate, classic
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I'm
mythological.
trying to say.
There we go. So Zephyr or... Do I choose between them? I do have to choose between them, so I can't just press begin.
Oh, that's a nice little animation there.
Okay. Again, a bit more of a text dump, telling us the controls, not necessarily bringing the lessons they learned from the tutorial coursework over to this one, but at least they're telling us the controls, which is always good. So we've got WSD, aim with mouse, left click to attack, special ability. I don't know what my special ability is, interaction E. Speak to the postmaster, he will explain everything you need. Oh, there's more that needs to be explained to us. Located by the... I'm going to drop the music a little bit more, actually, because it's still quite loud. There we go. Okie doke.
So we've got some movement animations.
I do feel quite slow.
That's a bit nice. I suppose that it might be the case that... if you picked the Zephyr, your actual base movement speed could be
That's what I'm thinking.
a fair bit faster.
Okay, so we got some. So here we go. These are like people. Instead of just saying yes, this citizen could tell us something about the world we're in. So this is where you could move some of that exposition to.
Mm.
A lot of them are just saying yes and like this is perfect opportunities for characterization.
Yes, and we did have. Yeah, see, there's a few here that have actual names, which
you get in, in an RPG or something where you've got tens or hundreds of characters. It's often a useful indicator of which ones are the useful ones to actually talk to.
Yes, I will say, and again, I don't think we're going to penalise them for this. What I said about praising their choice of names for the two protagonist characters, they've been very inconsistent with it immediately here, because we had, what was it, Ethelred, like a classic old English style name, and now Michael. So we're a little bit inconsistent in terms of
I don't know how old
naming
Michael
policy.
It's probably not as old as Ethelred, but I think it's fairly
It
old.
feels very modern.
True. I mean, it could be, he's not called Mikey.
That's true.
I've only been sort of half paying attention, so we've got to go do a quest.
Okay.
What happens if I talk to him?
I also wasn't paying attention. So what do we know? What?
Okay, so there we go. But there's a little bit of interesting exposition, and it's also nice that when we talk to this guy again and again, we get some more exposition. He doesn't just repeat the same things.
But as you said, this is something that could have been put in the other characters, even if it's just that when you talk to the citizens, they mention something about it's strange that the castle gates have been closed for this long, or whatever.
I kind of like the lamp shading as well. It's like, why are there so few people? Oh, it's because there was a dreadful plague, and because we didn't want to write all that dialogue.
I think the farmer he was just talking about is the guy we walked past down south. Ethelred, or whatever he was called.
Not that one.
Ethelfled, sorry.
I'm the last farmer in the kingdom.
Wow.
Man, you must
That
be...
must have been a bad plague.
I mean, you must be rolling in it, right? If you're the only guy that can farm. Oh, there we go. Careful, don't be hasty. I've also got, we haven't mentioned it yet, but their art style is kind of nice, like chunky sort of pixely graphics, but it all plays really well together.
Yeah, so far it looks very nice and consistent, and I would say no notes on that. It is nice. Ooh. Okay.
I don't know what the equivalent.
Well,
I don't know what the video game equivalent of the 180 rule is, but that was a bit weird. Like we left by going up, and now we're going down.
Yeah.
Dodge.
So we don't have a block option, do we?
We've got. I don't know what. Let me try pressing spacebar. There we go. I was going to say.
Oh, so we do have a block option.
So our special ability is a block because we're. What's the word?
With a big.
Yeah, we're slow.
With a tank.
Yeah, exactly.
If we look at the tortoise more specifically, I guess we have the big shell.
Yeah, there we go. Ooh, I don't seem to be able to click on. Oh, there we go. The combat's a little bit clunky in places. It's definitely not terrible. We've picked up a stats effect. Ooh, so our health is ticking down. Now we're on fire and sick.
This might be a time for a strategic retreat.
Well, but they drop health.
Nope.
So okay. Let's pick Zephyr. Let's see what the difference is. Definitely,
yeah, he's definitely
moves
faster.
Ooh. Do you sell things? Why are you behind her? Oh, can you just say?
Yeah, that is a bit odd.
There we go. Posting announcements. You're here to defeat the evil wizard, because of course you are. Northern Gate, previous expedition, cave entrance. We've got to find a cave entrance. Dare not speak about them in other cities. Okay, was that
Wait, did the farmer give us something to do?
I don't think so. He just said the population's been decimated. We need to think about rebuilding.
Maybe we should see if he's got any more to say, because it might be...
Oh, yeah. See if we can pick up a side quest while we're here. Don't be hasty. Defiance watch over you. Try talking to him again. Still here. Oh, there we go. So we have to speak to him twice to get... Now that's interesting, because that's normally like the first thing any NPC mentions. On the one hand, you know, like from a game design perspective, from a sort of like, you know, player first kind of thing, probably you do want to front load that information so they don't miss out on things. But equally, it's kind of nice that it's not the first thing every NPC mentions is, hey, hero, can you go and get my shopping for me? You have to actually speak to them a few times to get them to open up.
Yeah. It is. It's an interesting break from convention.
What?
Sorry, I stopped focusing on the dialogue and now I'm very confused. What's he talking about?
I heard you have to go and get my sword, but then he started talking about spears. Maybe something about stalactites. I'm not sure. We'll go.
If we go, I'm curious. What's off to the? Wait, which way is it? East. Okay, that I guess is the castle. This might be something interesting off this side.
Ah, yes. Old Man Arthur. See, we can tell he's important because he's got a name. Okay, so you might kill the wizard, but... okay, so he doesn't have a quest for us. But he says, you know, unless you do something about the plight of these lands, you're not going to get the good ending.
I'm a little bit... sad by the fact that he teased something up by saying, "Oh, you got to help people. I should know," and then just doesn't talk about why. Why should you know?
It's our special ability. Oh, we've got a dash.
What's our attack? Is it
just stab attack? Be nice if we could mouse over these status effects. You know, now that I'm only just realizing, do I need to stab all of these kobolds or goblins? Can I just...
No idea.
Can I just not do that? Should I be just not doing that? Oh, never mind. Interesting, I don't think I picked a character that time. I don't know if I just remembered the last. I'm gonna go and cycle through the... there we go. Before he left, he told to search for it on a hidden path between the two spears of stone. There we go. That's why he's talking about the spears.
Spears of stone. Okay. Is it possible, rather than going straight down, is it possible, because at the top, it looks like we might be able to...
Nope, we've got some cleverly managed agency, by which I mean an invisible wall. Oh, interesting. He doesn't have a exclamation mark above his head. There we go, now he does. Can I sneak by them all? Ow. Not very well.
Yeah, you are taking damage very... Oh.
Okay.
I think you got yourself trapped.
Alright, well, you get stabbed then. Oh, I've been poisoned as well.
Have we seen any evidence of a way to heal yourself?
Yeah, they drop hearts.
Oh, okay.
I meant to pick... So, I will say, a checkpoint wouldn't go amiss. Maybe, do I need to talk to him to activate the quest? See, I feel like I have to talk to him. Because otherwise I might not get credit for finding his sword. And this is where that whole putting the quest at the end of like the dialogue chain is a bit, maybe a bit of a misstep, because, you know, we've got to go through much more dialogue to get to the bit before we can leave. So either a checkpoint or making some of that a little bit briefer could be good.
I guess there's a chance that you would get a reward for just
I guess.
bringing it back, regardless of whether you'd started it.
That's what I'm thinking. I do get XP for stabbing goblins,
Oh, so you do.
so there's probably value in. There we go. There's a heart. I don't think I'm in a net positive at the minute.
Well, I guess hopefully the leveling up gives you enough health to make it worth it. Although I'm not sure you're gonna last that long. Oh, there we got a little bit more health.
Part of the problem is I have. Do they keep attacking me as I'm like pushing? Yeah. So
Yes.
I'm pretty guaranteed to take some damage. This is. Hang on, this.
Alright, we're gonna get Atlas.
Yep. So I also don't know what my.
Oh wow, yeah, this is really much slower.
It's much slower, isn't it? It's thematic.
Yeah. I mean, he is wearing a full suit of armor.
I'll be honest, it doesn't seem to help him that much.
No. Why are you at 75 health?
Yeah, I don't know. Is that just because I've got a larger max health? So in
Maybe.
theory, I can heal myself up to greater than my starting health. I'm not sure what the green is. The green bar stamina, because that seems to go down when I attack. I thought that was my special charge.
I'd also assumed it was the time of your special ability. It's not clear, and given the fact there was quite a lot of text trying to explain how everything works, I think the fact that we're not clear on that is, yeah, there's another failure of tutorialization. Although, yeah, this guy is
definitely
seems like the best route, at least for combat.
I didn't notice the arrows have slightly different graphics depending on if they're poisoned or fiery or whatever. Hey, we hit level 2.
That's cool.
I don't know what that's done for us, and I can't attack because I've got no stamina. That's a problem. There we go.
So even with your shield up, you can still be
there's
poisoned.
more of them. Oh, they're shooting me through the trees. Oh,
Okay. We might have a problem with the difficulty.
Yeah, so we might need to look at some of the game notes in order to figure out what's going on next. Let's see if I can do this a bit better. While I'm struggling through these level 1 goblins, shall we take a look at some of the marks criteria? So we'll start off with presentation and overall quality of play.
Okay. So this is for presentation. We're looking at graphics, audio, and the information design. So we've already touched on a little bit of the information design, and I think broadly that's pretty good. It gives you we've got a good indication of like how much health you are, how you're leveling up, when your abilities are triggering and stuff. You've mentioned, we've got the clear indication of status effects to the bottom. We're not sure what that green bar actually does.
I'm pretty sure I can't attack if it's empty, but yeah, I'm not sure why it doesn't refill sometimes.
But I think overall the information design is pretty good. There's some other points where I think maybe keeping track of what exactly we're supposed to be doing regarding quests or when we need to talk to people could maybe be improved. And there was the whole, you go up to get through the door, but then you go down to leave the door. But those are pretty minor points, I think. Overall, I would say the information design here is good.
Yeah, the audio I think could be a bit improved. So we've got some lovely background music. Ooh, what's the question?
Why is he
mark?
confused?
We've never seen that before. Did he get hit by his own?
We've gotten further.
Yeah, don't speak too soon.
Sorry.
I can't activate my shield either. Oh, this is not going to go well. We've got some lovely background music, but we don't have any. I think we have any sound effects when we. Let's turn that up a little bit. I don't think we have any sound effects when we take damage or deal damage or anything like that. So definitely,
so that's not ideal.
some extra sort of room for polish there, but otherwise, so a good would be professional, so complete and effective.
As obviously we've already praised the art for being like both looking quite good and being nice and consistent. So they've definitely got that there.
Yeah.
So if we see, as you said, good is complete and effective, and it's mostly effective. With the caveat, like the minor caveats about some of the information design. Going up to excellent, we have complete, effective, and appealing. And I'd say it's definitely appealing.
Here's the thing, I think it's definitely appealing. I think it could be more effective. So they've actually hit some bits of the excellent while not quite hitting everything in the good. So like we've already, like you say, the information design could be more effective. I think the audio could certainly be more appealing as well, like throwing in some,
that's a good point.
Death sounds or damage sounds or really any kind of feedback from the audio side. But otherwise,
and I think also harping on a little bit about this information design, the tutorialization is not optimal. So
I think otherwise it's still probably around a good.
Yeah, I think if we, where on earth is that presentation? There we go. I think I would definitely be happy to say that counts as a good.
So cool. Moving on to gameplay, which is handy because I was just about to mention something in it. On the one hand, being slow means, or rather, I guess being steady, not slow, is the moral of the story, right? So, instead of rushing in, waiting for your stamina to recharge so you can swing your sword. But also, being slow is a bit of a problem for dodging all of these arrows. Like, it's making it really difficult to sidestep some of them.
And obviously, we've been given this big shield. I don't know how effective you're finding that.
It's difficult to tell, and that's partly about why I was talking more about the feedback previously. So, knowing if it's actually blocking damage, because I'm trying to keep track of my health, but it's very much on my periphery. Also, but yeah, we definitely seem to have to tank a lot of this. Like those two are at the end of quite a narrow corridor, so we're running face first into a lot of. See, and I can't attack even though I've got 15 stamina. I'm gonna have to. There we go. Let's wait for that to recharge. So one hit does like 20, 15, something like that.
I think
I'm level 2 now, but I don't know what that's done for me.
In terms of like balancing this, it might be the case that this is that while developing they've played a lot of it, so to them
this is super easy, and I'm just making a fool of myself. Yeah. Okay. So otherwise,
that's something that you would work out with playtesting. Is that maybe you need to adjust the difficulty for people who haven't run very slowly. I think how many goblins are there in this forest?
We out, boys.
There's the cave. The cave's right there. We made it.
Do you reckon there's a checkpoint?
Hopefully.
I'm still at 1 health.
Immediately more enemies.
Oh, there we go. 3 health.
So with meaningful play, we're looking at mechanics, controls, and bugs.
So it's definitely. I
don't know if we found any
a game
bugs.
We can play. Yeah. Yeah. We might talk about this when we talk about pacing. I wonder if they're there just so that they drop health.
They are all dropping health, aren't they?
They feel a lot easier than. Okay. I may have to eat those words. I was going to say they were feeling a lot easier than the kobolds or goblins or whatever. Ooh, they are dropping a lot of health. Yum yum.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess here we're looking at, if we go to satisfactory, we're looking at playable with. So it's a simpler game with fewer mechanics, usable controls, may have some minor bugs. I think we're above that.
Yeah, it's definitely a game.
You're the one playing it, so.
Well, definitely playable, rather.
And good is reasonably complex game with multiple mechanics, smooth controls, may still have minor bugs. There's definitely a good number of mechanics.
Like we've got buffs, we've got debuffs. Like We've got different
There's-
types of enemies. Like
Yeah, we've got
XP.
a leveling
I'm-
system.
I'm not sure what it does,
does.
but
yeah.
yeah.
How smooth would you say the controls are?
Ooh, flipping heck. One moment.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Ah, we were so far.
Oh, and it's going
Oh,
to send us all the way back to it. So this, not ideal. That shouldn't send you all the way
frustrating.
back to the beginning.
Yeah, although to be fair, adding in like checkpointing and stuff can be a little bit of extra work. But if you've got a game lasting for this long,
It's important
Yeah,
if you
there
want
really
somebody to get to the
should
end
be.
of your game, right?
yeah. So to get up from good to excellent, we need a higher complexity with complementary mechanics, intuitive controls, and no significant bugs. And again, I mean, you're the one who's been playing it. Do you feel like it's reached that point?
I'm not sure it does. And I think this is partly down to like the balance of like enemies and things like that. And also the control. Almost this ties back into the feedback. Like there's something a bit unsatisfying about the combat, which seems to make up their core mechanic. Like it's just sort of run up to them and then keep mashing click. I don't have a sense of dodging or blocking particularly, even though I'm using this block ability. Because of that lack of feedback, there's like a bit of an unsatisfying element to it. So although it's definitely, it's engaging, and I'm definitely, like able to sort of play and make decisions and try and see, like here I'm just partly I run up to an enemy and I mash attack, and I've not got the feedback to tell me that why I'm not able to attack. So I know I should be taking it slow and steady a bit.
Oh, you're poisoned and on fire. I think that's it.
Yeah, and couldn't attack, and I guess that was yeah. So there's something that's sort of keeping it back from like the excellent or the fun level, and it's partly it's not necessarily the complexity of their mechanics, but it's more like the intuitiveness of their controls and maybe some of the balance of those different mechanics. So I think otherwise it hits the good level.
Yeah. All right. So the next part is to do with fulfilling the brief, and this starts with the story engine, so the interaction between the narrative and the world.
So this is going to become tricky to talk about if I can't progress. So partly we're going to have to look at their game notes. So we ask them to hand in some notes explaining how they make their engine, and partly I'm just going to have to get good, as they say.
So let's start with what we have actually seen so far in the game. So far, have we seen any examples of the game world and affecting the story? And I think I would have to say no.
Part of our issue
we've been told the story at the start, and to be fair, we've been struggling to get through, but we haven't yet reached any further narrative. We've had the introduction and then go fight things.
I think part of the issue that we've had at the minute is there seems to be a big separation between story time and game time. So we get told, here, first off, like you say, big exposition dump. See, I've got to run away now to charge up my stamina. So I'm going to sit here and wait for my special shield ability to recharge so I can run down this corridor again and zap that guy. And I still get poisoned through it, which is not ideal. And then I get 2 hits, and now I can't attack anymore.
I think we can move on to that when we get to the pacing and such.
Oh god, there's another.
Yeah. And then also looking at the other way, examples of where the story impacts the game world. Again, we've spoken about how we've not managed to get to that point where it might happen, but so far there doesn't seem to be any evidence of any interaction between the two, really.
So let's
I guess besides the fact that the two different characters have different sets of mechanics, but
so I was thinking more along the lines of, what was I going to say? We've got some quests, for example. Presumably, there's some amount of difference in if we get the sword for the guy and if we don't, and like the final ending. So game to story, it feels like that's definitely built into it. So do you want to take a look at their game notes?
Yes.
And we'll have a look at what they say, particularly the.
They've broken this up perfectly. They just have how does the narrative impact the game world as the first thing on their notes. I love that.
We do give them a template, but yes, it's amazing. It's amazing how often people don't stick to that.
Okay. So what they've said, I don't find particularly convincing as evidence of the narrative impacting the game world. So they say that the story introduces key elements like the kingdom, the forest, the caves, and boss battle arena, which add depth and intrigue to the world. And like fair, that's just narrative stuff, though.
Yeah.
Characters such as Florina and Ethelfled are not just static. They're integrated into the narrative with their own backstories to enrich the lore. Again, that's just narrative.
Yes.
It says the narrative influences the game's atmosphere and tone, setting a mood that oscillates between hope and despair, impacting how players perceive the world.
I'm certainly feeling a lot of despair right now.
I'm not sure that
it feels
you've
like
seen any trace of that.
They've also sort of misunderstood what we're talking about when we say, how does the game world affect? So this is what I would call the game world, right? These are the action. This is your sort of core game loop. I'm fighting monsters. I'm using abilities. I'm doing things like that. But is that changing the story? So, for example, does it check how many goblins I've killed or what level I am and things like that?
Well, I haven't. I'll go through the game world impact in a second. The last thing they have in the narrative is as the players progress through the story, they uncover the plot, but also contribute to the state of the game world, which is a very vague way of describing it. And again, we've not seen any evidence of that yet. Going with how the game world impacts the narrative.
So we've got.
So they've said, and I'm curious to know what your opinion is on this. One thing they've said here is the environment itself tells a story, with each area revealing hints about the kingdom's past, the sorcerer's influence, and the struggles of its inhabitants. For instance, the discovery of unique locations like the stag statue or specific items, both with secret entrances, directly influences the narrative's progression and the available endings. And again, part of it is that we haven't seen that.
If I could get to some of these secret entrances, boy howdy, I would tell you my opinion on it. But
so, regarding the environment itself telling the story, environmental storytelling is a really good tool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So far, we've not really had much of the environment. I don't think is doing much. Like we've got, the farmer guy says that there's a plague that's killed a lot of people, right? But we don't really see any evidence of that, like in the world. And when we talk to people, no one else really mentions it. And there's a lot of people about for the size of the town we're in. So I don't, it doesn't feel like the world itself is actually doing much. If, as you said, if we could get to this point where there's different items that we can potentially gain access to that will affect the story, then that's great.
Mysterious. Can't seem to interact with this very tiny house though.
Almost like Pokemon style houses where they're bigger on the inside. And so giving them the benefit of the doubt that it's just that we can't reach it. They do have a little bit of the game world impacting the narrative, but I don't think there's any sign of the narrative really impacting the game world. But let's hop back to the marking for that. So, for satisfactory, in both of those categories, it would be some examples of where the game world affects the story, or vice versa.
So for Game World to Story, you almost always have like the innate sort of progression, right? Like as we move through the game world, more story is revealed to us, sort of no matter the format, whether it's.
So far, we've learnt the story of Atlas, the terrible knight.
Whether it's through dialogue or environment, because we move through different locations. There's always like something being revealed, so there's always like some sort of minor way of doing this. So I did find another side quest there, which we'd missed before.
Yes.
It's also struck me that maybe we can like. So I was hoping for like a secret route where maybe we could bypass some of these flippin' goblins, or can we go back in town? If I go back, will it heal me? I'm gonna go try this. So yeah,
that'd be nice.
So
of course, it might respawn all the goblins.
Hey, more XP, right? That's bound to be good.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So yeah. So we go straight back to the tutorial.
Okay. It hasn't reset any of the stats.
Reset anything. So has it reset the goblins?
Oh, please no.
It's also put us at the bottom of the town, not at the gate, which is a little bit interesting. So yeah, where are we? So a pass would be sparse or minor examples, satisfactory would be some example. Oh, I seem to be a bit stuck.
So I think...
Oh, it has reset all the...
I think based on the reading the game notes and also what we've seen, I would say that the story affecting the game world, I think, is entirely absent. But assuming that the talking about the hidden items and quests that you get later on are there and functioning properly, we just can't reach them. I think that in terms of game world to story, I'd say that
like if we can go on a quest to find a sword, we can give this guy
definitely
his
some
father's sword.
examples.
Absolutely, yeah.
So for game world to story,
I think that might be a good, given that if they've got a number of different side quests, if it moves different bits of the. So this might be something that we need to revisit later if I ever manage to make it through this. But I think that's where I would put it for now. In terms of story to game, is there anything that we do within the story that changes what happens in the game world?
I mean, based on the description they've given in the notes, I don't think so. Everything that they've put in the notes here seems to be just narrative, affecting the narrative.
About how they've told the story rather than how that actually goes on to affect the gameplay.
Yeah. And like the closest thing I would say is that the game actions affect the tone and the mood, which again we haven't found any evidence of, maybe because we've just not been able to reach it yet, but it's still not great. So yeah, I think saying that we might change that if you get further on later. Game mode to story, I would put it satisfactory.
Okay, let's put it there, and then we'll revisit it if needs be.
And story to game world, I would put it poor, which is some support for story elements in the game, but the story has no real impact. And again, we might. Oh, no, I've accidentally.
Yeah, we might come back to that later. Like, as it is, like, there's definitely support for that. They could be tracking.
I accidentally typed into the mark spreadsheet that they got 200 for these categories.
That would be a little bit generous, maybe. Okay, so moving on to the next bit.
So that is player agency and the richness of choices.
So, again, a little bit problematic as we're struggling to progress, which is, in a way, a bit of a problem with the agency. What choices do they talk about? The choices that we are making in this game? Because I haven't noticed any
I'll
particular
have a quick
choices.
look. Well, we get the choice of which character to play. So
True.
we've definitely got one.
We've got a choice, and it's quite an interesting choice, granted.
They do not have any description of any other choices in the notes. It's the story engine and just the feedback later on. So I guess also assuming that we can get to it and these things actually happen, you do, I suppose, have the choice of
Finishing a quest or not.
Yeah, helping people looking for those secret things or not. Again, as you say, because we can't actually find or reach those points, it's not really, you don't really have the agency to do that because you can't reach it. So far, you choose which character you have and then have to go through the same path. And there's going to be a death now. Oh, 1 hit point. Oh, you managed to hit both of them with that.
Am I dealing more damage if I wait for my bar to charge back up to... I feel like I might be.
I have no idea.
I really want to get past this because I want to see like the story that they've hopefully crafted. But yeah, the balance of this bit definitely feels particularly off.
I think from what we've seen of the game so far, I would say that with the agency, there's few choices, and there is very little player agency, which is where we'd sit at the poor level.
Hang on, where am
To get up to pass, we'd have... Oh, have you found a secret path?
I wasn't paying attention, to be honest. I looked away for 2 seconds.
I think we just found the flower that woman wanted.
Oh, brilliant. Let's go do that, and then we can see something happening. Maybe we'll get a new mechanic,
Okay.
who can say? Or
Let's
some
see.
bonus.
Yeah. So getting up to pass then is some choices, but only a few are interesting. So let's see what happens when we bring this flower. And
this one here, right? There we go. Picked up some of the flowers. Very special. Thank you for bringing them. With these, I can keep a piece of the forest beauty and help those in need. If you find more, don't hesitate to bring them.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, not even any XP.
That's rude.
So yeah, really no gameplay impact from that. So although we may be progressing the story, we have we didn't necessarily get much in. Like, we got a bit of extra dialogue. We didn't get any extra sort of gameplay mechanics or any changes to that. We didn't even get any XP. So yeah, I'm at the minute I'm still happy with what we.
And they've all respawned.
Sorry, I don't think I'd killed any. I just went straight down this time by accident.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine then.
So I would say
I
think there's.
Sorry, go on.
I would say there may be a pass for agency. We've got some choices. Well, the thing is, all the choices that they've got are relatively interesting. Do we go out of our way to help people? Like, which character do we pick? It's just they've got.
The thing is, as you say, do we go out of our way to help people? But we weren't.
Have we got a reason not to do it? Yeah, it's more. Do we
First of all,
spend
is there a reason not to do it? But also, we didn't actively seek out that flower. We stumbled upon it by accident. There wasn't any sort of. It wasn't like a choice to go look at it. We just we went the wrong way, and it was like, oh, this is here. Cool. I guess now we've helped them, which isn't really a choice. And I'm not sure that if we went to seek it out, that we necessarily would have been able to find it intentionally. So,
yeah, I see what you're driving at. I think there's some amount of decision of, we found the flower, should we go back and give it to her? Should we press on? Weirdly, there is actually a bit of a choice there in, oh god, all of these goblins will respawn if I do that. I don't know if it's necessary to do that. If we just press on with our quest, do we effectively fail that quest, or do we have a chance to turn it in later?
Yeah. So again, the passes some choices, but only a few are interesting. So I reckon yeah, I think it makes just about manages the pass. I'm happy to see that.
Okie doke. So next is pacing.
Yeah. I don't. So we've the goblins, obviously this whole bit here is just difficult. There's not much pacing within the forest. Obviously you get into that cave, and then the slime things at least start off relatively easy to kill and are giving you a lot of health back. So we've got the pacing sort of jumps up for the goblins, and then it drops back down in the cave. Although it did get harder later in the cave, so I think there is an attempt at pacing here.
I think there's an attempt. So mechanically,
it could be you've got the goblins, which are really hard, and then you get sort of a little bit of respite before getting into another hard fight. So there is.
But this is all mechanical pacing as well, not narrative.
Yeah.
So story-wise, all of the story almost is front-loaded on you.
Yeah.
Then there's a big sort of dearth of story as we're fighting our way through the. Right, I'm going to shut up and concentrate now because otherwise I'm never going to get back to this bit. No.
We're looking for some spear-shaped rocks as well.
All the rocks.
If we can. I guess.
Also,
yeah,
if I go back and give that guy
spears.
if I go back and give that guy his sword, I'm gonna have to fight all those goblins again. But yeah, story-wise, the pacing is a little bit. We're given the initial sort of framing via text prompt, then we wander around and sort of get a lot of not epilogue. What's the word I'm looking for? Exposition from NPCs.
Yeah.
And then we don't really have much else. Like there's maybe a bit in terms of
so
arguably some environmental storytelling, but otherwise.
So if we look at the pass level,
have they got a diagram of their story structure? Because
they do not.
That's a shame. Because
oh wait, no, they do. Sorry, it's far enough down that I just hadn't noticed.
So let's take a look at that, because it feels like obviously there's some scope for us to be on a quest. Presumably there's a climax to it, even if we may never see it.
Okay, right. Let's have a look at this. Okay, so we start off, and it gives us 3. I feel like they may have. Well, I hope that they've just written this story diagram incorrectly, because it's very confusing.
Oh dear.
So what they've got is if you don't interact, if you don't find the sword or pick up the flowers, apparently you go to the boss battle and you die.
Oh dear.
If you we then have 2 separate endings. So if you find the sword and the flowers, and you give at least some of the flowers and the sword back to the relative NPCs, you get a good ending where you bring peace. And if you find those and don't give them to Florina and Ethelflood, you get a incomplete / bad ending where it says evil is cast out, but the kingdom is under threat. And so there are that is.
So there's definitely an
that does
attempt
show
at pacing.
that. Yeah, I think.
And there's definitely sort of going back to agency quickly. There's definitely branches. Well, I'm not so sure about choices necessarily.
Yeah, because again, it's not made clear that those things, like, it's obviously helpful to people, but it's someone asks to get some flowers because they'd like flowers. Someone asks to get their father's sword back, but it's not clear, like, why would that have a huge overall effect on the entire kingdom? Also, the choice of doing nothing on the side and just going to the boss battle and you die, if it is the case that when you get there you just die and there's no way to win that fight, again, I feel like that not providing the option of ignore everyone but you could still beat the boss and that's a different bad ending, it feels a little. Okay, I think this is the boss battle. Can we kill him?
He doesn't seem to be. Ooh, kill.
Oh, okay. So we did kill the boss. Um, okay.
Okay, so I guess that's
Why
because we
would
didn't.
why would doing the side quests get rid of the plague?
But we did give the flower
That's
back,
weird.
I thought.
We didn't get the sword though.
Oh, but yeah, we. I couldn't even find the sword in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
We got to the
first of
end.
all,
We've seen the whole game.
we did.
Oh,
The
goodness.
diagram they've got for the narrative structure is not they've not drawn it correctly, but we do have some evidence of a branching narrative, I think.
But yeah,
It's still a bit
I'm fairly happy with our
strange.
initial choices for story engine
Yeah.
and agency. So pacing wise, given that we've now got to the end, there's definitely a climax. But I think
feel like
elsewhere the pacing
that
is a bit
fight was easier than all of the others, though. Just watching it,
like it feels like there's almost descendant pacing. The goblins are the hardest bit. The slimes are a bit easier. The final boss isn't a huge. There's also, and again, story wise, the same, right? We have a big amount of expository text at the start. We have talking to some NPCs, but then after that, very little, right? We don't even have a big evil speech from the sorcerer at the end saying, haha, I have defeated you, and because you weren't kind to the people, the plague will continue, or something like that. So the pacing is... So descendant pacing would actually be an absent. That would be right at the bottom of Mark's criteria.
oh, it would. I think
I feel like they have made attempts for it. I just don't think it's necessarily been particularly successful. So a pass would be the pacing is unclear or flat. It feels like it's a little bit below that. I think it's maybe at the poor level, which a poor would be no serious attempt to control pacing. I think they have made an attempt. I just think it's been pretty unsuccessful, verging on descendant pacing here, unfortunately.
It is difficult to see from this whether there is an attempt that's just failed. But as you said, like it does feel like the pace is descending, and even if there has been an attempt to control it,
yeah, right.
They've ended up putting it the other way around.
I've just seen how long we've been on this one game, and that's partly because I'm bad at game. But we got to wrap this one up. So yeah, pacing wise, I think unfortunately they hit a poor. Storytelling wise, techniques and things like that.
That's not how that's meant to be running.
So we've got some what's the word?
Text.
We've got a bunch of text at the start. Not a great technique. We've got some dialogue with NPCs. They exposit some more stuff through conversation, which is better. They don't have any choice within that, so no like dialogue trees or anything like that, just sort of talking to NPCs. But we've already talked about how it's nice that the NPCs, have slightly differing responses if you talk to them again. But there's maybe more they could have done with that. They don't have cutscenes. They don't have... They say they've got environmental storytelling, and they reference, some statues. I didn't see those statues.
Yeah. I think so. If we look at pass, we've got a partially successful attempt to use at least one game writing technique. They've definitely reached that.
Easily reached that.
Satisfactory would be fully successful use of at least one game writing technique. So the question is, do we think that the dialogue or the mass of exposition has been successful?
I think the dialogue has.
Okay.
Arguably the exposition has been successful at what it sets out to do. It's just not the best or most interesting way of doing it. So we could
good would be successful use of more than one game writing technique, and I don't feel that's the case.
Yeah, I think they've basically picked one, they've stuck to it, and fully successful might be a stretch because but we've already talked about this in terms of like narrative pacing, that they use it a lot at the start, but then they never use it again, particularly at the climax, which is where you'd hope to see it. And again, the final epilogue is just a wall of text. There's no like dramatic speech from the necromancer or whatever, talking about how we've not actually foiled his plans or something like that. So I think
between pass and satisfactory there.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so the last bit is feedback. They will have been provided feedback both in the labs and hopefully if they did playtesting from other people. So we want to see how they've addressed that and how successful that has been. Okay, so one of the bits of feedback they got was that the stamina regeneration was too unforgiving, and so they made it more forgiving to make it easier so that it recovers at a more reasonable rate.
Interesting, because
I cannot believe how difficult it must have been early on then.
Yeah.
I don't think they've been successful with that.
No. It might be that it is much better than it was when they received that feedback, but I definitely don't think they've done enough to test and balance it and make sure that it's working as they'd.
We've also had a point about the enemy fights being too similar, lacking variety and depth. I cannot read apparently.
I was going to say we're not lacking in depth, that's for sure.
And so what they did in response to this was they made multiple enemies, which seems to be mostly talking about the slimes and how they have the bigger ones that then split off into smaller ones, and some of them have different abilities. They also say that they've added the slowness and poison arrows, which add an additional layer of complexity and variation. And I think, they've definitely added all of those things. The question is,
I don't think it changed. Again, the fact that they've got them is nice, but it doesn't actually change how I'm forced to deal with them in the combat. It's still a case of run up to them and stab them.
Yeah, so again, I think that's a case of they've tried, but it's not been successful.
Yeah, so I think the feedback was addressed, but the changes have had limited success, that sounds like, which would put them at a pass for that.
Yeah.
Okie doke. In which case, I think let's wrap this one up here, and let's move on to the next one. Yeah. And our next game is Journey to Serethina. So again, nice title screen, nice music.
I was, just before we started recording, about to complain about the music being a bit monotonous, but then we've had a little bit of extra complexity added to it, so I actually quite like this music.
Yeah, I'm I'm a big fan of chiptune type stuff, so this is very much my jam.
Oh, that's very loud.
That's quite loud. Let's drop that a little bit. There we go. Let's try that.
Okay, we're straight into
Iris.
a cutscene.
Yeah, there we go. Hooking the player. Dramatic moment.
The obelisk is talking. Cool.
This is a breakthrough. Got to take a piece with me. Oh, we've got a skip button as well. Managing what's the word? Little quality of life things like that. I will be very quick, I promise. Stab.
This feels very uncomfortable.
Okie doke. Sinister. Ha ha ha. Ooh, the text here is not easy to read. Thanks to you, Sinister, can continue. Ooh, this is loud again. However, being in mainland for years has weakened me, and selfishness was... As you can see, you entered this world with 3 empty acts. I think that's these things at the top. Commit a virtue, you will fill one with green. Commit a sin, you best believe it fills with red. In the mean... Ooh, okay.
Okay, so that's an attempt to teach us mid-combat. That's...
Ow. Ooh, that's a...
Do you have...
a long...
Oh, there's a health bar right in the top left. Okay.
Wow, let me drop this again a little bit.
So they've definitely... That's an interesting way to sort of kick off the adventure of the story. It felt weirdly meta for sinister to be talking like
Talking
that.
about the UI, yeah.
But meta storytelling is,
Yeah,
it's an interesting approach.
And like particularly again, like small game prototype, like it gives off like quirky indie game vibes almost in a way.
Yeah, and having someone tell us in game rather than just having like a block of text is an improvement.
So I just got to take a moment to gather my thoughts after that. So first cutscene, yeah, pretty good. Second cutscene, text real hard to read, went by real fast. Might be nice if they had, like press E to continue bit. Means no matter how fast or slow you read, it's going at the right speed for you. Thrown immediately into combat, definitely got that, early game hook of, drama, excitement. And now we've got a second to catch our breath. Might have been nice to have a little bit more after that, like the nice cutscene hook before just saying, and now there's a skeleton, go.
Yeah, I mean,
but we've got like some.
It's definitely been very active. Like it comes in with a bang.
Does this count as diegetic tutorial? Like we've got a WSD just stuck in the world, which is kind of nice.
I'm not. Yeah, whether that's we had the mouse icon as well, showing you how to attack, and that's It has been like going from the cave to that spot again was a bit of a sort of hard cut with very little explanation. Why is there a porcupine man?
Porcupine man?
It's like a big hedgehog.
Aye. Odd choice of key, but okay. Old lady, my dear, you look battered. Oh, now we have the click to continue bit. Right click to continue?
Right click.
It is. You're
That's
not
a
from
choice.
around here. Oh, we got a dialogue tree. Is there any way? Who is Sinister? Okay, so we still
Did he just punch?
Yes. Hearing his name shivers me to the bone. Centuries ago, the world existed as more creatures. One creature represented the sins of the world, while the other represented the virtues.
Okay, cool. We've got sort of some kind of primordial good versus evil entities.
Fun fact, Sinistra means left-handed. The perfect balance. They would be known as Sinister and Naive. Naive? I think that's meant to be naive.
Maybe.
Sinister's greed led to his desire in taking over Serethina. Naive used all her powers to banish Sinister into mainland. Mainland's an interesting place to banish somebody to. However, in doing so, Naive's last remnant of magic was stored in an apple. No one knows where it is. Okay, we've got the MacGuffin. We've got our... So we've had our inciting incident. We've got our quest. Apple. It was the nearest thing. Cool. That's kind of nice.
I like that. Just a bit of humour there. It is interesting choosing an apple when comparing it to like existing mythology. Like an apple is an odd choice for that, given its role in general in like existing
myths, and
world myths. Yeah, but again, this is its own thing. So there's. I'm not going to give them too much shit for that.
First, you follow who the granddaughter is. She can patch you up before I think that's all. But okay, so big sort of text dump, dialogue dump again. They have broken it nicely up by sort of letting us choose the flow of it, choosing which question we want to know first. Although I think we have to go through them all anyway, and the order in which we do it seems to not always like so. Ooh, interesting. Oh, so we've come from mainland. Tell the truth. Hey, we told the truth. We got a green. I disobeyed the obelisk. I unleashed Sinister. Yeah, sorry about that. Why?
I gotta be honest. I'm getting a real strong, like, Avatar season 2 vibe with the sort of whole spirit world plot of someone foolishly released the evil spirit into the world.
I mean that's every like anime and JRPG ever, right?
I guess, but I mean this maybe I don't watch enough anime, but wait, what was she saying?
I'm guessing Gran sent you. She just sends everyone to me for some reason. Let's never use it. So we've got some.
Got a med kit in our room.
Yeah. Which is not this one.
I mean, there's no chests.
The camera feels very jittery. Oh, there's the chest. You gained a life. Now you have one more heart. I've become the doctor. Okie doke, off we go. Yeah, the movement feels really smooth and nice. The camera feels real jittery.
I thought that might just be the
showcasing the important bits of the level.
That's nice.
Yeah, not just for storytelling, showing us where we need to go.
Okay.
Not just
so they've not like clearly indicated what these things are doing, but I think, people in general, if there's spikes coming out of the floor in a game, they know what it means.
I was going to say...
You don't need to explain spikes.
Okie doke. And... key. Uh-oh. Ooh! Music.
Battle music.
Yeah,
nice.
Look at that. Ow.
Oh no.
Alright.
Oh no. That's...
Having just sort of, praised some of the movement and the... Hey, we've got checkpoints. That's nice.
Checkpoints. It's so nice.
I like the movement, the moving and sort of like punching feels very responsive. I feel like we get stun locked for longer than I feel like we should, and it's also difficult to see where my punches are landing. Like there.
Yeah, they're very large and they have huge areas of attack there.
Maybe I should dodge them.
I guess you could potentially try to run past them.
See what happens. So this cutscene's nice, but
can you just run past and get into the spikes?
Ow.
Then maybe.
Nope.
Oh no, okay.
But if I attack them from the bottom, they can't hit me as well because their attack mostly goes a bit up.
Okay.
Alright, so we got a key.
That's nice. Are these just rocks on the floor? Or is that... Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Is the chest... Presumably we need to go and get the chest again. Probably I should have done that before facing the giant skeletons now that I think about it.
But hey, we worked out.
Also, now that I think about it, nice little, hey, you got a thing, like, sound effect music.
It does say you got stronger by +1. It's not clear exactly how that sort of... like what +1 is in terms of like how much damage are you doing already?
You found the dark crystal. Choose a path to aid your way to the obelisk.
We've got an apple.
Apple sounds important.
They did say apple was important.
Hey, you. Are you the one who freed me? Yes.
Do you see anyone else about?
1,000 thank yous could show how grateful I am to you. I can sense that you're someone on their way to a pure soul. For sure. I can't imagine how long you had to wait in that form. It did feel endless. I sense you have a mission to complete, so therefore I shall stay with you and help you as much as I can. In the meantime, let me heal you up.
No, we're already full health, but thank you. Oh.
All the same, I appreciate... Oh, if you're looking for the obelisk, you're too late. I destroyed it to keep you here. Ha 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 ha.
Wait, are we... Where are we?
In the end, you did turn out. So it feels like we missed an opportunity for virtue somewhere.
Yeah.
But because we saved...
But we did enough.
Naive shows up as well.
Hey.
So hey, there we go. That's going to come up when we talk about story engine.
Yeah.
And I guess on that note, as I'm probably going to struggle at this boss fight, let's start going through some of the marks criteria.
I want to see this boss fight though.
You'll see it. Don't worry. It'll still.
Okay.
You'll see it several times probably.
Starting off, we're looking at the presentation. So that's graphics, audio, information design. Wait. And...
Oh, never mind. No boss fight.
Cool. We're getting sent home to Middle Earth, or mainland, sorry.
Main Earth. Ooh, a bit of tearing on some of the tiles as the camera moves it. Okay, so...
Alright, well, it's nice that we managed to get through this one pretty quickly.
Yeah, so now we get to go through it and make different choices and see what happens. And hey, we can skip the cutscenes as well. Brilliant.
Graphics, audio, information design. I think I want to start at good, looking at this. So that's good would be described as professional,
Oh.
Complete and effective.
Before we roll through this, we should say this game, I think, was a solo effort as well, so that's something we'll keep in mind as well.
Yes, this was a solo effort. Okay. Yeah, so I think graphically it's nice and consistent.
No, wait.
No,
I lied.
Did you punch? You lied. Okay. Okay. If we're doing the bad ending now. So yeah, the graphics nice and consistent, and I think they're pretty good. I would say they're appealing.
Yeah, I like. It's things like particularly the what's the word I'm looking for? The music changes when a fight starts and things like that.
We've got sound effects as well.
When we pick
good
up,
number of those.
When we pick up a thingamajig, we get that.
And in terms of information design, I think there's some ways it could be improved. Like the health bar is very small.
Yeah, resolution scaling and UI scaling is always a bit of a faff, but it would be
We've
nice.
mentioned that sometimes the text or dialogue is kind of hard to read.
Like alternatively, just moving it so that it floats above our head or something like that. So
the
size of it doesn't matter as long as it's in our not in
and
our
we
periphery.
Mentioned that like it's a little bit difficult to keep track of exactly what's happening with the combat, like where they're But overall, I think the information design is broadly good. Like it's decent.
Yeah, between a good and an excellent, do you reckon?
So yeah, but good is complete and effective. Excellent is complete, effective, and appealing. I think. I don't know. I uncharacteristically am tempted to put them more towards the excellent side of things than the good.
Okay, yeah. You know what? I think you might be onto something there. Again,
especially because, as we've said, this is one person, and having everything else be like audio and graphically, having that be really good, and like there's a few minor issues with the information design. I think that's a really good.
Yeah, I like it. There's definitely still room for polish, so it doesn't hit the very, very top tier. But you're right. I think there's enough like little flourishes, like the music adapting based on what's going on, and like things like that, like make it really nice. So yeah, all right. I'm happy to say that hits an excellent.
So the next stage, yes, meaningful play. That's mechanics, controls, and bugs. So, have we found any bugs first of all?
Not that I've noticed.
Okay.
So, like it's a relatively short game, and again, we're not holding that against them because work of a single person. Equally, it means there's not a huge amount of gameplay to witness. But there's surprisingly quite a few mechanics compressed into quite a short game. We've got finding a key, we've got moving traps, we've got traps that like spring up until we've defeated a certain number of enemies. There's the enemies themselves, there's locks and key puzzles, there's chests that give us a bonus. Like, there's a surprising amount, like, of mechanics. They could definitely stretch this out into a longer game fairly easily if they wanted to. Add another room of skeletons and you're halfway there.
Yeah. So in terms of mechanics, satisfactory, we've got a simpler game with few mechanics, but I think up to good is a reasonable, complex game with multiple mechanics. And I think it's definitely at a good.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent would be a higher complexity with complementary mechanics, which I'm not sure they quite hit that.
I think I think what they've got is good. It's definitely very playable. The controls feel like pretty smooth.
So
it feels like even like. So I know I've just said single person, smaller scope. I feel like with exactly what they've got in the game right now, if they just like copy pasted that and had like another room of skeletons or something, they could do that relatively easy. Oh, I missed the final climax because I was talking about the mark scheme. I've also not found what the we've got a second slot here that I have no idea how we do that. But
Definitely getting better at the combat though.
It's definitely good. I'm almost inclined to say it's between a good and an excellent. I think maybe they could have done a little bit more to, like I say, even like just duplicating content they already had. So without having to do a bunch of extra work, they could have made more of the stuff they had. But what they've got is good. What happens if I just ignore you?
Yeah. Wait, is there other routes to take that don't involve going into the cave? Have we got other directions to go?
No, I don't think so. So I tried this earlier, and I'm pretty sure. Again, like somewhat managed agency. There's a bunch of invisible walls.
Can we punch the granddaughter to get a negative? Maybe.
I punched the granny.
That doesn't do anything. Okay. So, Granny
again,
doesn't care.
Somewhat managed
she can
agency,
take a hit.
Right? Controlling what we're allowed to do in the game world. Oh, I can't go there until we speak to Granny either.
What's over there?
Nothing.
Interesting choice.
That might just be a case of, well, this is the tile set we found. This is the tile set we'll use. Okay.
Or it's possible that was we're planning to put something over there, but ran out of time. Yeah, I think this is definitely settled into the good. So putting them between good and excellent, because again, this is one person's work. I think is fair.
Okie doke. So let's move on to story engine.
Yes. So
game on to story.
Game on to story. Well, that's pretty clear. The choices you make through the game, which aren't all narrative, like the branch you take to, you have to choose between you do extra damage or you free the good spirit, does very directly affect the ending you get. It's not.
So that's
the
story
subtlest
game, right?
Well, it's a mechanical choice that affects the story, isn't it?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
It's a lot of RPGs have this thing where it's like, the ending Tron 3000. Which of the three buttons in front of you do you press? And
we do.
It's very much set
three
up
little
in that way.
Dots
right? It's
above us.
It's effectively a story choice. They say, do you want to take the left path for this to happen or the right path for this to happen?
I suppose.
A choice of something happening within the game world might be, do we explore and do an extra quest? Do we?
If you're mean to the grandma,
do we punch
you don't
the
get
grandmother?
the healing.
Do we punch the grandmother? Things like that, or keeping track of, do we fight our way through skeletons? Do we avoid our way through skeletons? Stuff that's happening sort of like as part of the gameplay. Now, I'm not saying that do you take the left path or the right path isn't a choice, or even not an interesting choice. It is. It's just framed in such a way that it is sort of like almost external to the rest of the gameplay.
I suppose. And also, because you just go immediately after that, you go straight to the cutscene with Sinister, which doesn't actually involve a fight. So though you don't know it at the time, retroactively, choosing the extra damage doesn't actually matter.
Had not even thought about that. You're very correct.
Okay, so I think we've sort of swerved towards the agency side of things.
Yeah, so let's
but so did he just hit his own friend?
Yeah, but it looks like they don't take damage from each other. I could be wrong. So story to game world, definitely an impact. If we choose to free the good spirit. Well, I was about to say good spirit then shows up in the final boss fight and helps us. There isn't a final boss fight, it's also a story epilogue. So that's ooh, damn. I was about to say there's a really clear example of story to game, and I'm not sure there is. Oh, well, hang on.
Yeah,
if I said that this choice is a story choice, then it has a gameplay impact in that it gives us +3 attack, except we never use that in gameplay. So it's there, but it's not. Doesn't actually have a meaningful impact on the gameplay.
Yeah. Oh, we've got one bad and one good. Let's see what happens. Maybe going down the middle path causes a fight.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of hoping. While we're doing that, could you have a look at their game notes?
See if they've got any.
Soul is not as strong as I'd like. I can't skip through this. Take the crystal from me. So yeah, if you can have a look at what they say the story engine impact is, and also if you can have a look at their story chart and let me know what that middle choice is that I've not been able to find, that would be grand.
The middle choice.
Oh, he's just leaving. Ooh.
Oh no, he does.
Wait, he did.
Okay.
Was that a cutscene or was that a fight?
I have no idea.
All right, let's.
So the narrative structure they've given as a graph, there's lie to the old lady or don't, and then choose between taking the attack boost or freeing Niev.
Right.
And if you take both of the bad routes, you get the immoral ending where you go home. If you take one of the bad options and one of the good options, you die. And if you take both the good options, you earn the good virtuousness required to go home.
So there are
but they only show
only
two
choices, not three. Okay, so
I think it might be a case that they planned to have three, but maybe ran out of time.
Fair enough.
So if we look at their notes on the story engine, okay, so they say that it's based on the decisions when certain questions affect future interactions with their. Right. The player's decisions when confronted with certain questions affect their interactions with future characters. We've got the good, bad markers at the top. The player has the agency to choose their responses, and at the end of the game, the character of the player will have a certain personality based on their previous decisions. So that's not...
That doesn't seem to be reflected very much in what we've seen, unless they're talking about the final epilogue with Sinister, because whatever we say to the grandmother, it feels like the...
It would have been very easy to have it so that if you lie to the grandma or are mean to her,
we don't get the health potion from the grandma,
yeah.
Right? That's the obvious sort of mechanical impact.
Yeah, but we don't have that. And, you've got the choice to take that little extra side challenge to go get the chest with extra damage to fight the skeletons with. But again, that's a mechanical choice. To be honest, I'm not sure there are any clear examples of the narrative and the game really interacting.
Yeah, there's definitely places where we can see that it would be quite easy for them to add the support for it. Oh yeah. And minor bug there where Sinister would just jump to the bottom and stab at air and we die, but it is what it is. So game world, if we roll back to the choice that you highlight of the go left or go right, has a story outcome. Sure.
Yeah.
Definitely they could have done more with that. The good path is harder or less rewarding because at the minute the attack thing doesn't actually matter. But okay, that's an example of it affecting it. It feels like it's not much more than a pass though, like a sparse or minor example of where the game world impacts the story.
Yeah. If we look at support for story elements of the game, but no real impact either way. And as we've mentioned, there's very clear opportunities to do that they haven't implemented. But yeah, there is.
And I think that's the thing. Story to game, I think, does probably hit the ball, or it depends on whether you sort of categorize that one choice as a story choice or a game choice. It just flips which of these it applies to. But if we're saying that's the game world affecting the final story, then elsewhere in the game there's no real elements of where a story choice impacts any of the gameplay. And again, that's because there isn't a huge amount of gameplay other than those
Yeah.
parts. So I think.
So I think.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think for game to story, I think they've maybe just about made a pass, and story to game mode, it's a poor.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Which is a shame.
Yeah. So richness of choices.
We've already mentioned quite a few times about the player agency. So if we start the pass level again,
so
we have some choices, but only a few interesting ones.
We've got two choices, right? We've got lie to the old lady or not. We've got free the good spirit or not. The lie to the old lady or not? I don't know if it's an interesting choice. You've definitely got motivation, I guess, to lie. Maybe you don't want to admit that you did, you did the bad thing. But it's effectively beyond.
There's no consequences.
Yeah, there's no consequence because if you lie, she's very sympathetic to you because oh, you poor thing, how did you end up here? If you tell the truth, she's very sympathetic to you because you were very honourable and told her the truth. The only consequence is right at the end, and there's no connection between that, other than, I guess it's, what's the word? Well, in fact, I was going to say, there is an obvious link to it, because Sinister at the start says, I'm going to be watching whether you do good or evil things. But that immediately sort of nullifies that as an interesting choice, because then it's a case of, oh, okay, the big bad evil guy is going to be keeping track of whether I'm doing bad things or not, I better do a good thing.
Yeah,
so there's Here's more of an interesting choice because the consequences are not immediately apparent, but you've got like a much clearer. Those skeletons are a bit tricky. Do you want the extra attack power, or do you want to save the world? And again, it feels like a bit more of a calculation than a choice, but there's more interest here than in the previous choice. So it's not.
Yes. Although we know that obviously the attack doesn't actually benefit you at all. That is again just one path is the good path, one path is the bad path. But as you say, that you only know that retroactively at the time. Yeah. It is. And
again, it's also a thing that would have been easy to fix, right? You just put some skeletons in the next room before Sinister shows up.
Yeah. So we've got some choices, but only a few interesting choices. If we drop down to a poor, that's few choices. Player agency is problematic.
I don't think we're down at a
I don't think it's down there. Getting up to satisfactory would be a number of interesting choices, and again, I don't think we've made it there.
No, I'm considering at the minute. Are we between a poor and a pass? Because of the choices we've got, they're sort of interesting, but not very, and that's partly because, like you say, the consequences of that last choice are. If you know the consequences of that choice, it's definitely a calculation, not a choice, because there's no reason not. Yeah, because the attack boost is meaningless. There's no reason not to take it.
Possible to just ignore the old lady, just walk past her.
No. So that is a good example of managed agency. You can't you can't progress unless you've talked to all the NPCs. That's great.
On the other hand, again, we've got a very strict linear path you have to go down. And you go talk to the old lady, you go to the house, you go to the cave. There's not many options in terms of what you do, when, and where. Which, I think also that there is a sort of lack of agency. So. I think I'd say maybe it's between the poor and the pass level.
Yeah, I think, and again, I think they could have very simply made those choices more interesting by having, have some skeletons in the next room, then that attack potion booster thing has some meaning, because at the minute it currently doesn't. But overall, they've definitely got a couple of very explicit choices. Those choices definitely have an explicit impact on the ending. The way they frame the choices that they do have is pretty good. They just, unfortunately, because of the way the ending shakes out, they're less interesting than they could be. Pacing.
Next, yes. So at the start, it's an explosive start for sure.
yeah, dramatically, like we're thrown into a cutscene where we're in the middle of the action. As soon as we're into actual gameplay, we've got an immediate fight. Then we get a bit more narrative revealed to us through conversation with the old lady.
Yeah,
we go somewhere else,
sort of
we do a bit
chill out for a bit.
Yeah. Then we have a puzzle room. The drama kicks back up again. Then we get the final confrontation.
And I think the final confrontation, is a bit of a letdown because no matter what you've done, it's just here's a cutscene, something happens.
Yeah, so the dramatic peak doesn't necessarily match with the mechanical peak, right? This is the mechanical peak of the game. Like, we're locked in a room, we've got to fight some skeletons. And then after that, I was all pumped for a boss fight, right? We've got the good spirit on our side, we're waiting for her to come help us out in the boss fight, but then it doesn't materialise. And again, that's partly a scope thing. But... So,
if we look at good, right, we've got ascending pacing with a clear final peak, and that they've not managed to pull off that clear final peak. It's not, as you say, we've got the peak of the mechanical peak is here, the narrative peak is like 2 rooms later on, then it's not quite there. A satisfactory is some ascending pacing. And then a pass is pacing unclear or flat. I think it sits really solidly at the satisfactory level.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely got the ascendant pacing in a sort of like what's the opposite of macroscope? Microscope, I guess. They do kind of have that like multiple peaks, but the problem is because the final climax is a bit anticlimactic. They don't quite hit that thing on the mark scheme, so I think we say, it's got some ascendant pacing.
So, in terms of storytelling techniques, then, I think we've got quite a few. We've got the dialogue, we've got cutscenes, we've
dialogue trees to an extent.
Dialogue trees,
like we still have to go through the entire dialogue, but they break it up with some choices. So partly. Not quite false agency. I guess false agency, right? They give us a choice. The choice is meaningless, but it helps break up just a big wall of text. So that's a really successful use of the technique.
As we've mentioned, the cutscenes in this are very. They're used in 2 different ways, I suppose, and both of them do quite a good job. Like you have the opening cutscene, which shows what's happening and why things are happening. And then in that cave, you've got a little cutscene essentially that points out the key features. So for satisfactory, we have successful use of at least one game writing technique, and I think they're definitely there.
I think they're at least beyond that because we just listed 2 and they've done them pretty well.
And so good is successful use of more than one game writing technique, which again, I think they've hit. To get up to excellent, we need use of more than one game writing technique and mechanics support the theme.
So here's something that I hadn't considered up until this point. Which fable have they based this story on?
Excellent question. I'm going to have a quick check.
Do their game notes say, because I can't really pull out the theme of... So what have we got? So of the fables we asked them to base their game on, there were 3 particular morals. Slow and steady wins the race, kindness is repaid later, and be careful who your friends are, effectively. Or trying circumstances show you who your real friends are. If I had to guess, it's the middle one. But it's... So even if it is the middle one that they've gone for, where, you do a good deed, it's repaid to you later...
Okay.
Very clearly happens sort of like in their story, but isn't really shown in their game mechanics.
They have got a discussion of this in the feedback and response section, which I'm reading through and it's a bit confusing.
All right. Well, as I say, I don't think it's necessarily reflected in their mechanics, and that's partly because their mechanics aren't really showcased. Beyond, like their core mechanic is combat and jumping over spikes, and that's fine, that's good mechanics, but that's not what reflects the theme. So storytelling technique wise, I think they solidly hit the good. Feedback wise,
Yeah.
What have they said about their feedback?
Sorry, we're good on the techniques. Okay, I'm going to skip to the other bit of feedback they've had because that one's really confusing me. Okay, so this one's nice and straightforward. So initially they were planning on having multiple paths and have sort of open world where the player has side quests to go and find, but it was suggested to them that that might be too much work and deviate from the sort of narrative structure of it. So what they did was they took a more directional approach and give it a more concrete structure. The game was able to use the time cave macro patterns, which helped guide the player through the story. I'm not sure what that means. Is that something?
I'm not sure what they mean by that. I have a feeling they might be referencing like one of the narrative structures, but
there's also the other piece of feedback is something to do with the use of fables, but everything in that is really confusing, and I'm not fully sure what they're saying.
Well,
I think they're saying that
we'll see.
So was to have the different endings exploring multiple fables.
Oh, so it's possible. I'm trying to remember if I spoke to this group during development, and a couple of groups sort of said, "Can we do all of the fables at once?" And generally, we advised against that because it wasn't part of the brief. The brief was base it around one fable.
Yeah, I think that they're saying that they decided to make it so it was just. I guess the plan was to have the lion and the shepherd and two brothers and a bear included in it because they have contrasting morals in their story, and it was decided that the story would revolve around the lion and the shepherd fable, but the bad ending would lead to the two brothers and a bear fable.
I mean, I guess I can sort of see where they're coming from, that, but it's not.
But
it's not.
I think they're saying that I think they're saying that they decided to focus on the lion and the shepherd, but it's really not clear.
Yeah. Okay. So, and the other bit of feedback was, constraining the scope a bit more, managing the agency a bit more.
Yeah.
It feels like they've done that, and that's been sort of successful, but it doesn't feel like they've, particularly sort of interpreted the feedback in an interesting way. They've just sort of gone, yeah, I'll make it smaller, and that's fine. So.
Pass is feedback was addressed, but the changes have had limited success.
Yeah.
Or would be the feedback wasn't addressed well, although some other positive changes have been made. And I think maybe it's between the two. But part of it is it's the way they've written this part is it's very hard to tell exactly what the feedback was and how they've reacted to it.
I think that's the thing. It's not necessarily that their changes haven't been successful, but they've struggled to articulate the feedback they got, what actual changes they made, and why that made it better. So I think, I don't know if it's maybe between a pass and a poor for that reason.
Okay.
Like, it sounds like particularly if it was the work of one person, constraining the scope was not just a good idea, but probably necessary.
Yeah.
But their articulation of why that was the case and exactly how they changed it would tell us a little bit more about that. But okay, cool. All right, with that brings us to the end of this game. Let's move on to the next one. Okie doke. And our next game is... we've got quite a plain title screen. It doesn't tell us what the game is. I think it is Rabbit versus Turtle.
Rabbit and
Turtle. So no prizes for guessing which fable they've gone for. But again, that's a good thing. We don't want to have to guess. Let's jump right into it. So, boring title screen, but relatively professional. We've even got settings and things like that. Ultra graphics.
Oh wow!
So, ooh, that's kind of nice. So we can actually skip mode, read only, everything, auto delay, message speed. That's a surprising amount of polish and things in the dialogue system. But nice quality.
Hopefully that hasn't detracted from everything else. But it's a nice touch.
We've got a loading screen. In a magical forest, this year's competition is about to begin. This year the focus is on the wise hare and the wise tortoise.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, dialogue-wise, we've got a lot of different settings here. So if we go to log, we get a history of that. It's auto, skip, hide. Okay, I've hidden. Oh no.
Do we?
Oh, there we go.
Get it? Okay.
Ooh, that's loud. Let me bring that down a little bit. How's that?
That seems fine.
Cool. So nice, bright, cheerful music matches quite nicely with the background. It's the early morning. The sun shines through the leaves and the animals are busy. We've got a rabbit. Look at my speed. There is no one in the forest that can match me. We've got a tortoise. Moving slowly. Confound. Hey, isn't this a turtle? No, it's a tortoise. Turtle, look how slow you run. Calm. Everyone has their own strengths, rabbit. Provoke. Hey, turtle.
This is reminding me of HK47.
HK47?
It's from the Knights of the Old Republic games, where every sentence is preceded by his emotion.
Oh, I knew it sounded familiar. Yes. Carry on, meatbag. See, other people aren't going to have played that, and that's going to be lost on them. Okay, agree challenge or refuse challenge? I'm going to drop this.
What was the challenge?
I assume a race, but yeah, I got distracted by references to other games, so
My bad.
Let's refuse challenge.
I've just noticed that the Turtles book it's bound all the way around. How do you open it?
That's a good point. Again, we're not judging that artwork. We're judging how well they've put things together. And to be fair,
Yes.
these assets pair very nicely together.
I'm not sure about how well they fit with the background, but
I think it's alright.
we'll see.
It's, yeah. I don't think speed is the only measure of ability. We've disappointed the rabbit. Off the rabbit goes. The rabbit's disappointed and confused and questioning whether his proud speed was really worth showing off. Oh, we didn't make
So this is very much tell, don't show so far.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is basically all cutscene at the minute. We haven't... we had a choice. But it was... Yeah. What are you doing? Is something going on here? Anxious. We've got an anxious squirrel. Why is the rabbit wearing clothes and the squirrel not? Can you help me pick them up?
The squirrel's a naturist. It seems I have no obligation to help you. Wow.
I want to pick that just because that's a hilarious way of putting it.
Yes.
I feel like we might skip all of the gameplay if I keep saying no to everything. So I'm going to say, of course.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So that happens off screen, effectively. Okey-doke. So at the minute, I'm beginning to become concerned that this is sort of a visual novel rather than a game. And that's not to say that visual novels are bad. I quite like visual novels, but that's not what we asked them to hand in. So there you go. We've learned a valuable lesson. Not just speed, but teamwork.
And rabbits running back in the direction they came from.
Yeah. Time passed. The squirrel told his friends in the forest about the rabbit helping. Surprised many small animals who knew rabbits before because they all knew rabbits before would not do such a thing.
Okay.
But the turtle taught us a valuable... it's not all about being fast. It's about being slow and steady and helping others. I want to challenge you again. I heard your recent story and now I'm happy to compete with you. Tortoise and the rabbit both attach great importance to this competition, even though we've just learned our valuable lesson that speed's not the important thing. So they're looking for a competition which is not about speed?
I'm not sure.
Why are you making such a noise? How could you, a rabbit, have nothing to do and come to me? If you encounter any difficulties, just tell me directly. I will help in any way I can.
Okay, I'm getting a sort of mixed vibe from this monkey.
Rabbit finally saw the friend he had been looking for a long time. Showed a happy smile. Long time no see, my friend. Puts away the smile. I have something to ask for your help with. The turtle and I... I'm just trying not to read this in HK47's voice now. The turtle and I have made an appointment to have a running race. It is a race, so I want you to guide me. An enlightened monkey. It's rare that you can calm down, so I will definitely try my best to help you. I can offer you 2 different training methods. Strength training. Okay, seeing glimmers of gameplay here. So we've got increased speed, but it may affect physical. Strength training may affect physical strength. I would hope so.
I mean, yeah.
Balance training improves speed and physical strength in a balanced manner. My energy is limited. I can only guide you in one kind. I'm gonna. The strength may. So strength might increase speed, but might affect strength, whereas balance increases them both.
Strength. Let's go.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Speed is important.
Beat up this tortoise.
Only the fastest speed can prove my worth. No, we already learned this lesson. Under the monkey's guidance, the rabbit feels the speed is constantly improving. With every training session, Rabbit is challenging his limits. Here comes Rabbit again. Here is Fox.
Okay, this is pretty intense music.
Yep. Who are you? It seems we don't know each other. It doesn't matter who I am. What's important is that I can help you win the game easily. How do you feel about not being interested? I don't know how to answer that.
Sorry.
How do you feel about... Tell me more. So not only have we been training, we're going to cheat. You only need to use language to disturb the turtle during the game and make his defense collapse, and you will definitely win the game.
Okay, so his advice is trash talking.
Yeah. So... Okay. If there's nothing else, I'll leave. After saying that, the rabbit left. A long time... Oh, so we switched perspectives now. We're seeing things from the turtle's perspective. I think highly of me, turtle. You know how to be trained. Music's changed. A bit calmer now that we're the tortoise. So we can do perseverance training. So part of the problem is...
I mean, the music has changed, but it is still pretty...
It's pretty intense still.
Intense, yeah.
So we're being introduced to the idea that these characters have stats. But we have no idea what the current levels of those stats are, what stats are going to be used for. Like, we haven't had stats impact anything up until this point. Hang on, let me go back to the log. What was perseverance training? Learn to persevere, but you're easily affected by Okay, so if we pick the perseverance training and the rabbit trash talks us, we're going to be more susceptible. Or we can be free from all kinds of it, but easy to give up. So let's go for perseverance and see.
Any coach will tell you that all sports is 80% mental.
Exactly. We're going to be extremely determined. Oh, we found
an extremely old turtle.
Wise turtle. It's fate that our grandfather and grandson can meet here today. What?
So
is this our grandfather?
I think so. I assume they don't have the same grandson, because if so, the turtle was aged incredibly compared to the old turtle.
But also the turtle was like, hello stranger, have we met before? If this is our grandfather, I don't know. I wonder if you're willing to do it. Oh, so this is basically... Our grandfather's going to help us cheat. Cool.
Oh my god.
I respect your wisdom, old man.
So we don't get a choice.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I was absolutely going to cheat. Because it's only fair. Day of competition. Game begins. The game started, the rabbit ran out like an arrow and disappeared in an instant.
Full speed ahead, let's go.
That's what rabbits do. Okie doke.
So again,
Mocking turtle, encourage turtle.
The music has changed again, but it still doesn't feel appropriate.
Yeah.
We've got this sort of like almost polka-esque.
Like German polka almost.
It's like some of the music
but...
from earlier would have been a better fit here, because
yeah. Okay, rabbit's mocking the turtle, and again, like it feels like those stats that we have been changing. I can't get over the music. Those stats we've been changing earlier, like it'd be good to see what those are now, right?
Yeah.
Because at the minute, this isn't really gameplay. This is exploring a novel, which is fine. But it's not like we're balancing resources or managing stats or anything like that. Or
wait, I'm confused. Didn't the rabbit just mock him, and now the rabbit's been nice to him? What is happening?
Yeah. Wait, so they reach... yeah, so this is what I was saying about, like, if there are stats here, how do we know what's... Because that doesn't seem to fit with what just happened. And, oh, okay, that's just the end. That was a very short epilogue, let's put it that way. Okay, so I'm going to start a new game. Let's start going through the mark scheme.
So we start off with presentations. That's graphics, audio, and information design. I don't know how to...
So graphics-wise, graphics are quite nice. The backgrounds are,
The backgrounds are consistent between each other. The character art is consistent between the characters.
Like it's all a bit static. Like the rabbit doesn't have an animation; it just sort of slides onto the screen. They're working with what they've got, but it's a little bit limited. So
yeah,
I would say like satisfactory would be the presentation is workable. I'm focused on the graphics at the minute. Yeah, let's put a pin in that.
The audio we've already mentioned that a lot of the time it's not quite appropriate for the scene.
Yeah, like the audio's nice. It's good that it's there. Background music's always good. It's nice that it changes between scenes and it's not just one continuous repetitive loop. But again, there's definitely room for polish in how they've decided to like choose and arrange the particular pieces they've chosen.
And in terms of information design, like it's telling you who's speaking, but there's no, as you've mentioned again, there's no indication of like what sort of stats are happening, what effects these things will necessarily have. The explanation for what's happening is often confusing, so that's not great.
Yeah.
This is
Jazz
such
Fox.
a banger, but
yeah,
not appropriate.
The fox is all like, "Come here, kid, I'll help you cheat," and this is not that music. This is absolutely like intense race music.
So, if we started a pass with this, that gives us simplistic or many inconsistent elements, and I think it's better, as you said. Well, we've got static images.
It's simple.
Quite a lack of any information design, and also inappropriate audio a lot of the time.
You've got a point
if you going up to satisfactory, it's effective, but some inconsistencies, and I don't think it reaches that level.
I feel like the graphics probably reach that level. I think the audio is a little bit hit and miss. Like, again, the fact that they've included it, the fact that they break it up by scene, they may not have chosen the best music for each scene, but is there. The information design, the problem with the information design is there's very little information to display, and we're going to talk about that more in a second. But I think maybe between a pass and a satisfactory. Again, bearing in mind this is all the work of one person.
Yeah, okay. I think I could. I'll be happy for that.
Okay.
So the next stage is meaningful play. mechanics, controls, and bugs.
And here's the thing: we don't have mechanics. We've got a number of sort of choices that we make purely through the UI, and you can definitely have a game where you're just clicking on UI buttons, but you need to reflect some element of, like, there needs to be an objective, there needs to be a challenge, there needs to be something that is going on and happening. Like plenty of games have like resource management and things like that. In fact, plenty of choose your own adventure style games like this, like they have,
I would
like,
argue
very minimal mechanics where you're choosing what you want this character to do. There's like small elements of, you know, role-playing game type decision making here, but mechanically there's a very, very limited set of mechanics we've got here.
Yeah, I would go so far as to say this isn't really a game. It seems more like it's a hypertext novel or a visual novel. There's so little interaction happening here that I don't think I would call this a game.
So, all right. So for you, that would put them at an absent level. So unplayable in that there's no real gameplay here. A poor would be like limited. So, you know, insufficient mechanics. I would say, again, bearing in mind that it's the work of one person, maybe between the two. Because we're making choices, it's possible that there are like stats at play here. It feels like, as you say though, more likely that we are more navigating a hypertext rather than playing a game.
The thing is, it is the work of one person, but it's still the case that there could, as you said, there could be gameplay elements where there are like resource management or other things that, you know, similar sort of choose your own adventure style games might have, but they've not included those where there is very clearly a lot of work gone into other aspects. And I think, I don't know, it feels like that stuff is just completely absent, and that I don't think would be a limitation of just being one person, but just choosing to take an approach that doesn't have any gameplay.
I agree. I think, you know, some, like, for example, this choice is, I would go so far as to say this is gameplay. It's maybe as, you know, as bare bones gameplay as you could get, but again, like, if you think of, like, you know, a role playing game or like a choose your own adventure like book or something like that, you know, you're deciding what should this character do at this point, and that will have some consequences later on. Like, you could absolutely imagine like this having much less gameplay, right? So it's not totally absent. I would say this is probably between an absent and a poor.
If you were to take away these choices, then you're just reading a book.
Yeah, exactly.
So these, again, I feel like these choices are still, again, it's just a hypertext novel.
We may be splitting hairs here, because numerically there's not a big difference between absent and partway between the two. So I think we give them some benefit of the doubt. We say between the two, and then we look at story engine, and we're going to throw up a lot of these issues again, I feel.
So for story engine, we're looking at two sides of it. We're looking at the game mode interacting with the story, and the story affecting the game world. And yeah, there's sort of a lack of game world.
So here's the thing, an absent here would be there's a story premise, but there's no attempt at integrating game with story. And this is the thing.
And a poor would be support for story elements in the game, and the story has no real impact on the game world, or the game world has no real impact on the story.
And it feels like for both of these, we're probably between the two again, because, like we've already said, the gameplay is extremely minimal. We're mostly sort of exploring a hypertext, which is not the same as playing a game. But we've already discussed a number of ways that this game absolutely could incorporate some things like that, like giving the rabbit a speed stat and a strength stat, and as we go through, we're constantly trying to balance those resources, and then...
That is the case, but although it could be there, it just isn't.
That's what I'm saying.
mean-
There's some support for it, but not a huge amount, which is why I think it probably doesn't quite reach the poor.
So what, between absent and poor again?
I think game world to story, yeah.
I mean, I would still put both of these at the absent level, to be
I think
honest.
you might be right for this one, actually, just because unfortunately there's like minimal gameplay in this sense. There's not elements of like objectives or skill or challenge or things like that, or goals even. I guess that's it. There's no goal. We're just enjoying a nice story, and it is a nice story and a really nice presentation of it. But we don't have a goal. We're just seeing what happens.
Yeah.
So I think we probably do hit absent for both of those.
So the next is agency and richness of choices. Now, there's definitely choices.
There's certainly choices.
Are they interesting?
Uh,
I think the best example of this is there's two cases where we have the option to cheat, right?
That's exactly what I was about to say.
And as far as I can tell, you talk to the fox and it's like, oh yeah, let's listen to the fox tell us how to cheat. And then
we did it and nothing happened. I did everything I could as the rabbit to get an advantage, and we crossed the finish line at the same time. So
yeah, it doesn't seem to have an effect.
So this choice is a good example of could be an interesting choice, but because of the lack of information design, we don't have any information about the consequences. Like, what's our rabbit stamina like? Maybe we should just speed off ahead, or should we be trying? Like, how long is the race? Should we be saving our energy? What could happen if we choose this? So this is a choice that could be interesting, but we're kind of making blind, so we don't have that insight to what the outcome might be. So I think you're right. I think the main interesting choices in this are, should we cheat or not? And overlooking the fact that it doesn't seem to have a consequence, that's the interesting choice. And that is an interesting choice because, what's more important, winning or being morally upstanding and so on? Like, do you think you're good enough to win by yourself without taking this choice?
Okay, so we've got at least one choice.
No. We've got lots of choices. We've got at least one interesting choice.
Okay, so if we start a pass, some choices, but only a few are interesting. To get up to satisfactory, it would need to be a number of interesting choices, and I don't think we're there.
I don't think we're there either. I think we're... Sorry,
dropping down to a poor would be few choices, player agency is problematic. Now, as you said, there is a lot of choices, but I do feel like the agency is a bit problematic, so I'd probably say between poor and pass.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. Also because I think I made a bunch of different choices there and got the same ending.
Great.
So yeah, I think between the two there, like the choices are definitely like the strongest aspect of this game. They've put some thought into like always giving you some options because it's again not reflected in necessarily gameplay, and because of the lack of information design, it's difficult to say whether a lot of those choices are interesting or not. But they have definitely put thought into having like a decent number of branches. Ooh, I can scroll forwards and back. That's kind of nice.
Okay, so next we have pacing.
Going back to stories.
Okay.
So I was going to say, like, here's a chunk of story that we don't get if we make one of the choices. So I guess this is like...
Okay.
Ooh, goodness.
That's...
Oh, wow, that's just a game over
that's
then.
just the end.
Cool, okay.
That's interesting.
So yeah, I was going to sort of say, like, making that choice definitely has an impact on, like, the story world, but again, it's a story choice that's just sort of, like, means, do you see this bit of story or not? It does have an impact on the outcome, but yeah, still.
I mean, if you really wanted to argue that it affects the game world, like that choice ends the game.
Well, here's the thing.
But
that makes for problematic agency, because it means that choice isn't, again, it is now no longer not an interesting choice, but it's not a choice. If one of them just stops the game or stops the story, then it's just a game over. So yeah, I think we stick with between the two for that, and then we move on to pacing. So mechanically, the pacing is like there's no serious attempt at the pacing because there's no gameplay. Narratively, we've got some amount of pacing. You know, we've got a number of events, a number of scenes that build up to the race at the end.
I suppose. I
think it could be managed quite a bit better in the sense that, you know, how they're broken up. But there's almost like some attempts to have like peaks within that sort of dramatic curve where, you know, like there's the initial proposal for the race. If we refuse it, then we go on like a little quest of self-discovery by helping a squirrel get some pine cones back. And then there's some moments where they go and do a training montage, and then somebody approaches them and says, "Hey, do you want to cheat, kid?" And there are all these little moments that are definitely building towards a climax, and the race is the most climactic part of it. It's a shame that the epilogue is sort of like a couple of lines and then smash cut to titles. So the climax feels a bit undercut by that in a way. Yeah. But I would say there's definitely some ascendant pacing here.
Narratively, I would agree that there is some ascending pacing. As we've discussed, I mean, actually, like mechanically, gameplay-wise, there's a lot of issues in general, so there is no pacing for the mechanics. And so I think I would say maybe satisfactory is the ascendant pacing, but maybe just a little bit below, like halfway between satisfactory and pass, just because there is some pacing, but it's only in the narrative.
Yeah, and in the way, like, there's no change in the way it's conveyed either, and even things like going back to the presentation, like the dramatic choice of the audio doesn't line up with the drama in the story.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to penalize them multiple times for that because we've already talked about that in the presentation.
What I'm more getting at is even stripping out like the mechanics and things like that as a way of conveying drama. There are other ways to do it as well. Even things like they've almost tried to do it with the what's the word? Signaling or signifying what the emotions in each scene are and things like that. But I think you're probably right. It probably lands sort of more between a pass and a satisfactory. There's definitely... You know what? Again, I think on the balance of things, I would say, you know, we're focusing on sort of the narrative here for this, or at least the sort of pacing for it. The way they've paced the narrative does have some ascendant pacing. I would almost go so far as saying it does have that clear final peak. It's just then undercut by some of those other choices. I think it probably hits the satisfactory for it.
Okay.
Okay. Storytelling. Techniques.
As far as I can tell,
we have one,
which is dialogue.
Is it used successfully to convey the story?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
it's a little bit
it's conveying
interesting
the story
at a time, but it does convey the story satisfactorily.
Like we've even got I don't think this necessarily goes as far as saying, you know, they've got cutscenes and things like that, but they also include some animations of the characters moving onto the screen. I don't think that necessarily counts as an entirely separate second technique. But I think they get a satisfactory for this. They've
so that's
one technique.
Successful use of at least one technique.
Yeah,
and I think that's that.
Yeah, there's not much more else to say about that one. So, lastly, feedback.
All right, let's find the feedback. There is no feedback in their document they've provided.
Okie doke.
There's just no feedback.
That's a shame. That gets an absent. And that wraps up this game. So, and that wraps up all of the games for this video, in fact. So, thank you very much for watching. We'll say goodbye here, and we will see you in a little while for the next video. See you then.